I'm looking for an energy-efficient home.
I teach ERA classes on homes of the future.
Printed materials make me sad.
I sign all my documents electronically.
I need acreage for an organic vineyard.
I specialize in suburban agriculture. At ERA, there's an agent for that, whatever that may be.
You plus ERA, a real match. Meet your ERA match today and move closer to owning your dream home.
各位 ERA 的成功伙伴及好朋友们，大家好，我是 Victor， 欢迎大家来参加今天的 Energy Wednesday。今天我们非常荣幸邀请到 ERA 新加坡的项目营销部营运长 Doris COO 来为我们讲解分析，在 COVID-19 疫情之后呢，新加坡的不动产市场状况，以及有哪一些适合我们投资的精选物件。现在，让我们用最热烈的掌声来欢迎 Doris。Hello
ERA teammates in Taiwan as well as all friends in Taiwan. Sending you greetings from Singapore. 大家好 I think 你们那边是好像讲福建的对吗？大家好。Okay, I'm here today. This is Doris Ong, COO of ERA Singapore. I'm here to share with you a bit about insights about property market in Singapore, as well as to give you some project highlights as to in Singapore and what's happening in the real estate market in Singapore. Okay, let me walk you through some of key facts about Singapore. Okay, in Singapore, before I go on to the key facts, if you are aware, we are a multiracial country with people, Chinese, Malay, Indian, as well as the other race. So in terms of language as well, we are also 50-50. We can speak English and we can speak Chinese, but not perfect English and not perfect Chinese. So in these seminars that I'm going to share with you, 我会用一点点华语跟你讲，也是用一些英语跟你讲，然后跟你分享一下新加坡的房产的状况。Okay. Some key facts about Singapore. Total population we have is about 5.69 million. I did a quick check. I think in Taiwan, you probably have population 20 over million. And the population in Taipei is already 7 million. So Singapore is actually smaller than Taipei in terms of population. So in terms of country, 我们是一个小国家. So in terms of land, it's very expensive. If you look at the chart, out of the 5.69 million, we have about 3.52 million Singapore citizens. PR make up about 0.52 million, and 1.64 non-citizens, people working in Singapore. If you ask me, maybe in terms of the people in Singapore now, instead of 4.04 million, maybe a bit higher because of COVID. 疫情的关系, there are many people in Singapore. Those that is working in Singapore, they have not been traveling home, especially our neighbors, Malaysians. Sometimes they actually travel daily routine back to Malaysia home, but because of the COVID, there is restrictions. So a lot of them are actually in Singapore now. Okay. Some key facts of Singapore: close to 9 in 10 residents household were owner occupied. So in Singapore, the home ownership is very high. As at 2020 is 87.9%. Just to give you a little bit about the happening on the Singapore property market, there are two types of residential properties in Singapore: public housing and private housing. Public housing are what we call HDB flat. HDB, Housing Development Board flat. These are so-called, if you buy first-hand from the government, is considered subsidized housing. 这个也是在新加坡我们叫做政府主屋。Okay, and then when you have the private housing, these are the private condominiums as well as landed properties. So it's in a very simplified form. This is the Singapore residential properties market segment. Okay, just to share with you some of the how does the private housing look in Singapore? Singapore, we don't have many mega projects, you know, like 1,000 over units. We have a couple of projects, 那种项目有1000多套的。But these are some of the recent projects that we have. Right at the center that you see here, this is Park Nova, which is the latest launch project in Singapore, and it has benchmark pricing as well, but it is a very high-end, ultra-luxury condo. Okay, in terms of private housing, some of the fast facts, okay, in terms of tenure, there are a few types in Singapore. Basically, it can be split into 3 types: 99 years leasehold, 999 years leasehold, as well as freehold. I think when we are selling properties, 999 years leasehold and freehold is as good. So the other one that people is looking at is 99 years leasehold. So the difference is if you buy new homes means 一手房. All right, then usually it's a fresh lease, 99 years from maybe let's say now it's probably 20, usually 2 to 3 years has passed, so we call it a new lease. If you are buying a resale home, that means 那种二手房的话, then it's 99 years, and the lease may even the lease run longer already. So your 99 years leasehold in your title, they will put there with effect from which year. It can be 1990, it can be 1995, etc. Okay, in terms of private housing, these are all the basic facilities that most condominium have: swimming pool, clubhouse, tennis court, barbecue pit, gym. Nowadays, for the what you call it, the more luxury condominium, they even have concierge service. So this is quite popular and common in the luxury market. Okay, the only thing about Singapore, because Singapore land is very scarce. Okay, so foreigners can only purchase private non-landed properties. So to put it simply, most foreigners in Singapore, they buy condominium. And in terms of the housing lending rate now, mortgage rate is probably about 1.5 to 2%. It's very low now. Okay, market segment in Singapore. Singapore, I think how we categorize or divide the segment of Singapore in terms of the value of the property, right at the center that you see, we call it the core central region. Okay, in terms of property, those shaded in this color, 这个是什么色？米色。Okay, it is the most of the more expensive properties are all in this, including Sentosa. Okay, so this is the core central region, including Sentosa. The one that you see at the fringe, we call it the rest central region, which is the gray area. Okay, this is city fringe area. So this is a bit cheaper than the core region. And the white area that you see is called outside central region. So primarily in Singapore, when we talk about the Singapore property market, there are 3 segments. One, core central region, rest of central region, and outside of central region. Okay, just to give you a bit of a few of the pricing. Okay, the core region, core central region is Singapore city area. 地方好像是乌节路、River Valley、圣淘沙这些地方。So prices usually range from USD 1,008 to 3,000 PSF. In Singapore, we call it per square foot. Okay, and then rest of central region is city fringe area. Prices usually range from US 1,002, 1,250 to about 1,008. And in the more suburban areas, prices usually range from USD about 1,001 to 1,250 per square foot, or we call it PSF. Okay, I think we also touch base with Victor and ERA Taiwan. It seems that Taiwanese are coming to Singapore to buy properties. And then the one that create a bit of news in Singapore is the Taiwanese family, the Wang family. Okay, they actually bought up a very ultra luxury property in Singapore, and they spent 293 million to buy something that is quite near to Orchard Road area. Okay, and in terms of pricing wise, the price that they paid for is about 4,008 Singapore dollar. So I think they are not the only one that came here. We understand that quite a lot of ultra luxury property like South Beach residences and Wallet residences, Taiwanese are also some of the buyers in these few developments. So ERA teammates in Taiwan, you may want to explore, you know, there are your clients that is investor may also be interested in Singapore's properties. Okay, ultra rich is still drawn to Singapore as a wealth hub. In fact, during this last one whole year, because of the COVID or because of the happenings in Southeast Asia, we see money liquidity flowing into Singapore. Super rich are also choosing Singapore as the world's safest haven. Okay, these are some of the articles that we have pulled out from our papers. Singapore is top overseas property investment destination. The activity in real estate market has doubled first half of 2021 to about 6.4 billion. Okay, so why invest in Singapore property? This is a view from one of the projects that we are marketing called South Beach Residences. And this is really the view that we got. This is not a view from the helicopter. It's from the clubhouse, the pool area. This is probably the iconic view that you can see in Singapore. Here, this is the Marina Bay Sands, Jing Sha. This is the iconic. A lot of people visited this area, and this is where the casino is. When Donald Trump and the North Korean come to Singapore, I think the North Korean leaders even visited this Marina Bay Sands. Okay, and right here you see the green area here. This is our Padang, where we have our National Day Parade. Okay, so why is it that foreigners are buying properties in Singapore? Foreigners are bringing in money into Singapore. Okay, Singapore is a global financial center. With a lot of happenings in Hong Kong, we have also seen money flowing into Singapore be it for Hong Kong or from other area, and we are slowly becoming a stronger global financial center. The other thing that we also have noticed, Singapore is #2 place for ease of doing business after New Zealand. Okay, I think why do we say so? I think in Singapore, we have ease of doing business. We are the world most competitive. We are ranked #1 as the world most competitive economy. And then what is the Singapore's key strength? International trade and investment. We have a pool of skilled labor force. Our business legislation, there's transparency. Technological infrastructure is there. Many tech companies are setting up their base in Singapore. If you have, especially over the last 1 year, a lot of tech companies are in Singapore now. And there is also public finance. So many things has encouraged and people to set up office in Singapore, bring their funds to Singapore. And the other thing that we have is we have social stability. In terms of we have a very highly competitive school system that is ranked among the world's top. We also have a very high gross domestic product per capita, which invests in high quality public services like education and healthcare. As we know, because of the COVID, healthcare is very important. You see a lot of countries having thousands of people that has infected with COVID every day. In Singapore, I think we try and manage the situation well. Okay, so far I think the country, the government is coming out with very strict rules, and I think as our citizens or people staying in Singapore, we are also very comply with the rules to ensure that everybody is kept safe. Okay, we also have feedback. I mean, we have been selling properties to foreigners, and one of the reasons why they come to Singapore is also because we are the world's safest cities. We are ranked very high in terms of the index. Many people have sent their kids to Singapore to study, be it Chinese, Taiwanese, Indonesians, and then we have fellow neighbors from the Southeast Asia country, and they leave their kids in Singapore, and I think generally they feel that it's safe for their kids to come. Sometimes they have to still do business in their own country. They find that they are comfortable to leave their kids here to study. Okay, and in terms of property, there's a low risk of a property bubble in Singapore as well. I think the government has come up with many measures over the years to ensure that properties are still considered affordable, and there's a supply of land, and cooling measures are still in place to ensure that it's not highly inflated. Although I must say over the past 2 years, property prices has went up a bit. Maybe I share with you some numbers that was released by the government. I think what we have achieved is we have, I think 70% of the population is vaccinated. For every 100 people in Singapore, 81 have received their first dose, and 73 are fully vaccinated as at August 11. So, I mean, we have that 70% that is vaccinated. So, our government also come up with regulations to ensure or to encourage us to be vaccinated. I mean, in Singapore, we like to eat. There's a lot of food in Singapore, and there are all sorts of restaurants, be it Western food, Italian food, Korean food, Chinese food, etc. And Singaporeans mainly like to eat. So in terms of vaccination, when they have been asking us, encourage us to be vaccinated, but there are people that still didn't go. So they come up with this regulation. If you are not vaccinated, you cannot go to the restaurant and eat. So because of this, there are some pressure for people that enjoy food to make sure that they are also encouraged to go and do the vaccination. Otherwise, they cannot go out to have dinner with their family or have social gatherings with their friends and colleagues. So this is some of the moves that our government has been doing to ensure that the more and more of the population will be vaccinated. And this is also for the safety of everyone, so that we can, go back to the proper economy to ensure that the country do better. And just to share with you some numbers, despite the COVID, our economy grew at a faster pace than previously predicted. And MTI on Wednesday, I think on August recently, has actually upgraded our GDP growth forecast range for 2021 to 6 to 7%. And the prediction compared with the previous full year forecast of 4% to 6% make this first in November last year, comes after Singapore began easing some of our COVID-19 related curve. What happened is with this COVID, I think initially when the COVID starts, there are a lot of concern about the economy as a whole, property market as a whole. But surprisingly, in Singapore, there is strong take-up for Singapore properties despite pandemic. Okay, May last year, you can see new home sales rebound with more local buyers drawn to lower quantum. There are a few reasons why the market is moving. Primarily, one is maybe Singaporeans, before the COVID, I think you travel a bit, maybe not so much time. Now you have more time at home. You spend a bit more to look at the property. Maybe you spend more time at home and you realize that your house is too small. You want to upgrade to a bigger space because everybody is having Zooming and meeting at home. So we have people that probably want a bigger space. Or moving out of the families. Maybe you have been staying with your family, your parents. Some of them need more space. During the normal economy, maybe you work, maybe morning you go out, you come back very late, so you don't think that you need more space. But with the COVID, quite a lot of people realize that they need more space. So we see the real estate market being very active. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is saving rates is very low in Singapore. If you put money in a bank, your interest rate is 0.3 maximum. Now the fixed deposit is about 0.5. And so there's no incentive to put money in the bank. And in terms of the mortgage rate is probably about 1.5. So it also encourages you to buy property because borrowing rates is also very low. So these are some of the reasons. And because of the money flowing into Singapore, we also see the luxury market moving as well. And we also see some of our other country fellow people that is working in Singapore, because of the COVID, they are probably PR in Singapore and they're renting properties to stay. And because of the COVID, we also see a trend of some of the PR buying properties because looks like because of this COVID situation, some have decided to stay in Singapore for a longer term. So up until March 2021, new private home sales for March hit a 4-year high. So in terms of COVID, we see that the demand of Singapore properties has gone up. And fundamentally, when you sell properties or you want to invest in property, you must look at who is buying. All right. In Singapore, it's the local that is driving the sales. So if the local, the Singaporeans are buying, that means the fundamental is very strong and stable in Singapore because they are putting their money where they are staying as well. So, although we have foreigners coming in, but local form the stronger pool of buyers. And then because we have people staying in HDB flats, they also want to upgrade. So they upgrade to condominiums as well. Okay, continued strong demand for new homes. Okay, new homes is the one that drive, you see, there are a few markets. We have the new homes and the resales. New home always is the one that drives the market in terms of price and in terms of demand because by default it's being new. Okay, and you can see that over the month up until July, we have 1,005 units being sold on 1 month itself. Okay, and during the circuit breaker, the lowest sales number is in April. 277 units sold. That was when Singapore, the government announced a circuit breaker where we all got to stay at home. But you can see the surge, you know, from May, we have 487 units, June 998, because nowadays technology is very important. We use Zoom to do presentation as well as, you know, we have all the virtual tour as well. So in terms of selling, nowadays is very productive. Our clients will look at all these virtual tours before they decide which are the properties that they want to see. So if you can see the trend, you know, the sales take up is getting stronger and stronger. And then with sales take up getting stronger, if you look at the new homes that is depleting unsold units, if you look at this number, April to May 2021, in Singapore, we probably have about 19,000 units of new homes that is unsold. But if you look at the previous chart that I show you, typically average we sell about 10,000 units per year of new homes. So if every year we sell 10,000 units, our current stock is only about 19,000 units. So if you use that basis, technically speaking, we will finish what we have in available stock within the next 2 years. Okay, and price, that's also the reason, because of the higher demand and because of the depleting stock, we also see the price has been increasing. All right, prices increased by 2.2% in 2020 and has increased 4.1% in the first half of 2021. So we always tell, I mean, I have been in the real estate for the past 30 years. The only takeaway I have for everyone is today's high is tomorrow's low. Okay, and it has happened in the past 30 years in the real estate market in Singapore. Every time we launch a new project, the feedback by the buyer is, oh, it is very high, this is very high. But then 3 years down the road, or even 2 years down the road, the price becomes cheap. So that's something that is happening in Singapore. Today's high will be tomorrow's low. Okay, what is ahead for us? Okay, in Singapore. Okay, in Singapore, I think that there will be more people that will be vaccinated, not only in Singapore, but in the world. And then I think like what we read in the articles, we cannot be bubble wrap the country and isolate ourselves, not allowing people to come in. Sooner or later, we will have to open up the country, and then to be not so strict in terms of our regulations, in terms of the COVID. And the economy will open, the borders will reopen, and what's going to happen? Like what we said 1 year ago, there will be revenge buying in Singapore. Okay, I'm not sure about in Taiwan, but in Singapore, if you want to buy luxury cars like Ferrari, Bentley, you have to be in a queue list, no stock. Okay, if you want to buy watches like Rolex and Patek, no stock. Okay, one of the reasons we say is because, of the COVID, most Singaporeans are also not traveling. So every time you travel, you spend quite a lot of money in terms of your air ticket, accommodation, and shopping. So all this money has been saved for the last 2 years, and they have been buying back things in Singapore in terms of cars, watches, wine, painting, and then houses as well. And we reckon that when the borders reopen, there will be more foreign demand for Singapore's properties. And for many reasons, I think the political stability in terms of the ease of doing business, etc., has led to, we reckon there'll be more demand when the borders are open up, where foreigners will be here. So that's also why the prices is continuing to rise. So today I'm here to share with you a few projects, more recently launched project that you may want to take a look at. Unless you are very familiar with Singapore, we also see one thing, the foreigners' priority, they like to buy prime district area, core central region. All right, so I think in ERA, we have a portfolio of about 130 projects from the core region to the rest central region, as well as to the OCR, to the mass market. But today I will highlight to you a few projects, primarily the core region, because this is where we see the demand for foreigners. But then again, if you are in this webinar and you are interested in the other region, the RCR or the OCR, do get in touch with our ERA Taiwan teammates, and our ERA Taiwan teammates will get in touch with Singapore. All right. Okay, we are currently, we'll be launching this project this Friday. Okay, it's called Clean Can Hill. It's at Can Hill Road. If you have been you have come to Singapore before, and I'm sure you know where is Orchard Road, you know where is Paragon, okay, or you know where is Takashimaya. Okay, Nghi City, Yi'an. So across Yi'an, there's this shopping mall called Paragon. Okay, and behind Paragon will be this road called Cairnhill Road. So this is literally walking distance to Orchard Road area. A lot of Indonesians like to buy this location. Part of the reason is also because it is very near to the Mount Elizabeth Hospital, where many people come here for their medical checkup. So this is a project that will appeal to foreigners, and it is located in Cairnhill area, and it has only 138 units. So you have the exclusivity. You know, you have that privacy, you have that location that is very near to Orchard Road, yet you still have that privacy. Okay. And then I know when foreigners come to Singapore, not necessarily you buy car. Well, you can Grab in Singapore, there's a lot of taxi, but if you want to experience the convenience, it is also walking distance to Newton MRT and Orchard MRT. Okay, just to give you an idea on the pricing, okay, we look at a 2-bedroom. This is freehold. Okay, if you look at a 2-bedroom, the price is about Singapore dollar. This is Singapore dollar, 2.936 million. The 3-bedrooms with private lift lobby is about Singapore dollar 5.395 million. Okay, and the 4-bedroom is about 10.63 million. Okay. This is definitely cheaper than what the Wang Wang has bought in terms of pricing. And if you want to walk from Cairnhill to Wang Wang, the building that they bought, Eden, is about 10 minutes. 10 minutes walk to the place that the Wang Wang family has bought. Okay, and you see, if you look at the clubhouse, you see this retro. This is a bit of the Malay kind of, this used to be a house, probably 30, 40 or 50 years ago, and it's under conservation. The developer had bought this plot of land and converted it into a clubhouse. So you have a clubhouse that is worth probably about 100 million. All right, it's conserved property as well as the land that is expensive. So you have a bit of the retro feeling, a bit of 复古 Malay 风光的 feeling. Okay. Okay, the other top of the town, the upcoming iconic development in Singapore. This will be the top of the town, trust me, in our Singapore newspaper when it's launched probably in October. Okay, this is probably another resort area that you may be familiar. All right, it's right at the heart of the Singapore River. If you are familiar with Singapore, you know Clarke Quay, where we have a lot of eateries as well. It is just right smack across in the area. And if you are familiar with Singapore and you have been coming here to shop in the earlier years, you know, this project is the previous place of the Liang Kok. Okay, it's developed by 2 property giants in Singapore, CDL and CapitaLand, City Development and CapitaLand. Okay, it's an integrated development with hotel and retail components, and is directly connected to the MRT. 696 units ranging from 1 bedroom to penthouse. So it has all the attributes of what people want about buying property. Big property giants with track record, CDL, CapitaLand. It's an integrated development with the convenience of hotel, retail mall, and it's also near MRT station. You can buy for your own stay or you can buy for investment. Okay, so the 2 are the upcoming projects that we have. We also noticed that a lot of foreigners are buying this project called Normanton Park. All right, Normanton Park is the top selling project in 2021. And within this 7 months, it sold 1,110 units already. All right, so if you do not want to spend too much money in Singapore, like the 10 million, 5 million. So this is something that you may want to consider. And it's probably because it's very near to the city, but in terms of pricing, it's still attractive. And we see foreigners buying it as well, especially those that is sending their kids to school in Singapore, because it's actually quite near to NUS. as well. So if you are staying in this place, of course, in terms of primary school all the way to the university, I mean, it's very near to the location. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why people is buying Normanton Park. It's undervalued. It's a majestic development. Okay, in Singapore, Singaporeans like to buy a bit 500 to 1,000 units development, because when you have that kind of developments, then you have a lot of facilities and it's easier to rent as well. Yeah, it's easier to rent as well. So, like Normanton Park is near to NUS, National University of Singapore, is near to National University of Hospital. It's near One North, where it's a tech, like a Silicon Valley area, where all the tech people are. Okay, so I've also shared with you some of the pricing here. You know, we have from the 1 bedroom all the way to the 5 bedroom, which is about US 2 million. Okay, these are the starting price. Right now, I think in terms of USD to Sing is about 1.36. Okay, so location. So this is Normanton Park. In terms of minutes to Science Park, yeah, Science Park, 5 minutes to NUS, 4 to 6 minute drive to all our Biopolis, Vision Polis. It's near schools, very good school, ACS, from primary school to JCs, and then you have the college as well, United World College. It's very near to CBD as well. So this is something that we have seen the foreigners, other than Singaporeans, the foreigners are buying. Okay, so now that maybe you are interested to come to Singapore to take a look at a property, or you want to put some money in Singapore, what's the purchase procedure? Okay, this is for new homes. We are talking about new homes. Resale is probably also very straightforward. For new homes, what you need to do is you need to pay a 5% booking fee. And then within 3 weeks after receiving the documents, you sign the SMP. Okay, so within once you pay 5% for the booking fee, and then you pay, then you sign the documents, you need to pay stamp duties, and within 8 weeks from the day that you buy, you pay balance 15%. So in short, you got to pay 20% of 20% of the purchase price for the property. That's excluding stamp duty. Okay, and the rest is progressive payment. As and when it's completed, then you need to pay. Generally, in most projects, it takes about 2 to 3 years to complete. So if you are coming out with full cash, then you have this 2 to 3 years to pace up the payment if the property is under construction. Okay, so buying stamp duties, other than buying properties, of course, you got to pay for the property. So you have to come out with minimum 20% cash within the 2 months. Okay, you need to pay stamp duty. Stamp duty, how we calculate stamp duty? Okay, first 180K Sing dollar, you pay 1%, 2%, 3%. So it's very easy to calculate. Ballpark figure, we always tell our client, you take the sale price or the purchase price, 1 million. If it's, let's say 1 million, then your stamp duty will be 4% of 1 million. Okay, so that is a ballpark figure of what are the costs involved in buying properties in Singapore. Okay, and then of course there is this additional buyer stamp duty. Okay, this is one of the way the government try and cool the property market to ensure, to regulate that if you want to buy more than one property, then you got to pay additional stamp duty. Okay, for Singaporeans, the first property, we no need to pay additional stamp duty, but for the second and third, we have to pay 12 and 15%. The good thing about foreigners, you pay a flat 20%. All right, so I think this is part of the tax that everybody has accepted it already. Okay, for foreigners, the good thing is also the Singapore currency is also quite strong. So we also see people buying properties and parking their money here. In Singapore, we try and buy properties to make money. But in foreigners, I think when they come to Singapore and buy properties, the other objective they have is more capital preservation. They want to they convert their currency to Singapore currency for capital preservation as well. Okay, so in the event that you want to sell the properties, we encourage you to hold the property for minimum 3 years. Why do we say so? Because if you want to sell before 3 years, there will be seller's stamp duty. I think the whole objective the government want us to do is to ensure that we do not speculate on property. So if more than 3 years, then no seller's stamp duty is applicable. So these are some of the highlights that we want to emphasize to you, because these are the ones that cause is more of the expenses in buying properties in Singapore. Okay, so in the event that you want to take loan, okay, we have this age calculation, loan value as well. I will share with you this table. Okay, but I must say most foreigners that come to Singapore, they generally use cash. Okay, and then that's more applicable to Singaporeans as well. Total debt services ratio. These are things that the government try to regulate to ensure that we do not over borrow. So they want to ensure that if you have your total debt servicing ratio cannot exceed 60% of your salary. Okay, other costs when buying properties in Singapore, of course, you have to have a legal fee, which is about USD 1,008 to 2,004. Okay, legal fee is in correlation to the value of the property. The higher the value of the property, then the legal fee will be higher. Do note that you no need to pay agent commission if you are buying new homes properties. If it's a new home properties, generally the commission is paid by the developer. Okay, and then if you are holding, when you get the keys to the property, what is the other cost that you need to pay in Singapore? Fundamentally, there are two types. You need to pay property tax. If you are buying it for your own stay, the property tax is 4%. If it's tenanted, it's 12%. And then other things that you probably need to pay monthly for the condominium is your maintenance fee. So we have a wide range, USD 250 to more than 1,000. So it also depends on the property that you stay. If it's ultra luxury with more services, then the maintenance fee can be higher. Or if the units of the development is lesser, then the maintenance fee will also be higher. It can be more than 1,000 USD, it can be 2,000 as well. Okay, that's all I have to share with you today. If there's nothing, with the borders going to reopen, I look forward to see you in Singapore. If you are in Singapore, do let us know. If you have any queries about Singapore properties, do look for our ERA Taiwan teammates, and you know they can always refer to us, and we'll share with you what is the market in Singapore. That's all I have today. Thank you.